General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, announced the creation of Katsina on September 23rd in a special nationwide broadcast. To this end, Decree number 24 of 1987, known as States Creation and Transitional Provisions Decree, was promulgated. It stipulated that a new state, to be known as Katsina State, will be carved out of the old Kaduna State. The areas which formed the new Katsina State were Daura, Mani, Dutchama, Kankia, Malumfashi, Puntua, and Katsina local government areas. The new state covers an area of about 24,759 square kilometers and has an estimated population of 4.7 million people. The creation of Katsina State did not come easily, although it was long expected by the people. The demand for the state started as far back as 1976, when there was a widespread call for the creation of additional states in the country. Katsina, Alhaji Musa Adua, a minister in the First Republic, was among the people who were in the forefront for the demand of Katsina State.
I was assistant treasurer. I know we expended over $250,000, all donated by the people. Some donated the cars, motorcycles, bicycles. So when you have such a donation like this, there is no doubt that the people want to have a Katsina State.
What has been the response then before and after the creation of Katsina State?
The response is but nothing but joy. The people gave their money, they gave their time looking for the state. Suddenly, we have a Katsina State. Then, what will the people do? They will all cry with joy, happiness, and all whatnot.
Would you say that the whole exercise has been benefiting?
It's most benefiting. People who are looking for a state of their own, they have a state. Well, what will be more benefiting than that?
The first step taken by the federal military government to effectively set in motion the immediate takeoff of the new state was the appointment of Colonel Abdullahi Sarki Mukhtar as the first military governor.
I, Lieutenant Colonel Abdullahi Mukhtar, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as the governor of Katsina State, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the laws of the Republic of Nigeria, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will exercise authority vested in me as governor so as not to impede or prejudice the authority lawfully vested in the President, Commander-in-Chief.
The people of Katsina State gave the new chief executive immense assistance by making available to the administration over 200 houses which were to be used as offices and accommodation for government workers. In addition, they gave over 2.6 million naira to assist the smooth takeoff of government. The military governor, despite all the assistance, still faced enormous task of settling the government and undertaking the immediate task of building the state.
When I heard of my appointment as the first military governor of Katsina State, I did appreciate that there would be quite a number of problems. One, in relation to the movement of staff, accommodation, and of course, a most fundamental, trying as much as possible to live within the hopes and aspirations of people who for years have yearned for and eventually got a state created after years of such expectations. Therefore, when we moved in much as one appreciate within the midst of people with tremendous goodwill to receive and to see to fruition the realities of what a state would mean to them. So because of that, we had the additional burden of not only contending with the numerous problems of establishing an administration, but also trying to see that we keep and sustain the tempo of the euphoria which attended to the creation of Katsina State. So as I said earlier on, we had the problems, one of the movement, second, placement of staff, and then of course getting even the structure within which the various organs and agencies of government will be so located. And of course, I have the added responsibility, and what one may regard as a problem too, of picking up the principal officers with whom I will start that administration. Of course, one is able to pick up the principal officers, and so long as there is clear perception of what is it one will want have, I think some of the problems will have been solved. And then of course you have the problem of having to contend with an environment which hitherto had been the seat of a local government, now transforming itself into a state capital. And therefore, you also have to contend with finding alternate positions for the various offices and departments of the local government administration. But with God on our side, and with the dedicated approach which each and every of the pioneer staff of the Katsina State government did exhibit and put into action, one would happily recall that much as those early days were very taxing, one would say we have done the very best we could to put Katsina State on a sound footing. And from what I have seen so far during my last visit, which was barely 3 days ago, I believe the tempo which the initial administration established has been, and I'm positive, will continue to be sustained.
In all, Colonel Sarki Mukhtar's administration expended a total of 55,737,018 naira 22 kobo in the provision of necessary equipment and materials for the smooth takeoff of the government. This included, among other things, payment of allowances, furniture loans to civil servants, enhancing water and electricity supply, as well as settling civil servants redeployed from the old Kaduna state.
You cannot administer people and resources haphazardly in the sense that without any planned program of action. Almost every aspect of human existence, especially one that is geared towards the betterment of that existence, is a priority. But even among priorities, you have to do some ratings. And I know as a fact that in Katsina, the major issue then was the issue of water. Because if you look at the topography of Katsina, you know quite a number of places are bereft of water at all. So water was, in fact, the main issue which we are battling to find a solution to. And then, of course, roads, and especially roads in the rural areas. Then you come to education, the health sector, and then agriculture. As I said before, most of what we decided doing were predicated on what is and what should be the main inputs to make life more meaningful to the person, to the human being. So having addressed our minds on the area of water, we now move on to the area of agriculture, because I know as a fact that hitherto a lot of people have not opened up to the idea of dry season irrigations, and that is why we embarked seriously, and happily to know that by the time I left Katsina in August 1988, we were able to open up not less than 11 irrigation schemes. And these schemes, I have learned, they have been improved upon, and a lot of people are a lot happier. Now at least they could farm within the year round without waiting for the rains to fall. And I believe that could be one of the answers to the various social problems we have in the urban centers, because what moved quite a lot of people into the urban centers is for want of what to do in the rural areas, especially in the dry season. But if they have the capacity to make a living within their own locality, you believe we would have solved most of the problems, which at times pushed them to come into the cities with all attendant social problems therefrom. And then we examined the educational sector. And one of the fundamental policy which we introduced, and which I believe we have taken the very right decision in that direction, is that of doing away with co-educational institutions. Because from what reports I received, most parents were not particularly happy wherein their daughters are being made to sit in the same class with the opposite sexes and with all the consequential problems attendant thereto. No sooner have introduced the separate sexist educational system did we have a rush, especially from the female sex, to be enrolled in the various educational institutions.
Colonel Sarki Mukhtar spent barely a year in the state before he was redeployed to the sister state of Kaduna as the new governor. He held his tenure in the state with nostalgia and expressed the hope that the new Katsina state has the potentials to meet up with long-existing states in the federation within a short period.
Almost all the roads in the municipality had a touch in one form or the other, either complete refurbishing or complete tarring of such a road. And that is why you go to Katsina today, you tend to wonder whether that state had been existing long before it was military governor's office and the residents, and so also to contend with the provision for presidential complexes and new offices for the military governor and the deputy. All these, especially the government house in Katsina, was completed long before I left. It was completed sometime in August, but it was officially opened in September when the Chief of General Staff visited Katsina. The presidential complex, I learned, is now almost on the reference stage, so also the various offices and the council chamber. Now, for us to have achieved those modest achievements we were able to do within 10 months cannot be ascribed to Colonel Abdullah Sarki Mukhtar. It has to be ascribed to the totality of people who then form the hardcore policymakers and executors of whatever policies we're able to come up with.
The man placed Colonel Sarki Mukhtar third in the Laura Nebi. American graduate soldier came to Katsina with strong determination to succeed in building the new state on a well-founded economical and social background. It is his hope that such foundation will provide the necessary ingredients, serve as a propelling factor to enable the young state meet up with all the states as quickly as practicable. He opened what the people generally regarded as a new era in the growth of the state in all fronts.
It is with great pleasure that I am here with you today on this very important occasion. The importance of livestock health cannot be overemphasized here, as it is of livestock production which is essential to our animal protein need. In our endeavor to our people through various means, this government put the development of livestock on its top priority list in order to meet the high demand of animal protein. Already, Katsina is blessed with the following livestock population: cattle 1.2 million and poultry 2 million. Sheep about 9.9 million and goats 1.6 million. These animals are often faced with devastating and deadly diseases such as CBPP, black quarter, worms, malnutrition, starvation, and rinderpest. However, I understand that rinderpest is the most devastating among the diseases eventually controlled. This is no doubt gratifying in that its 1982 to 84 sweep is still fresh in our memory. The livestock industry is also faced with shortage of animal feed and drinking water. This is frequently associated with the frequent spells of drought and the nomadic nature of our livestock owners. Lack of settlement of the cattle rearers has always caused neglect of proper planning for their livestock. The absence of effective movement control especially along our international border, which is vital for effective disease control, is also threatening the livestock industry. It is with a view to remedy these problems that this government allocated about 4.2 million naira this fiscal year to the livestock sector. In the 1988 fiscal year, 4 rural veterinary centers included this one. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to call on all of you, especially cattle rearers, to make the best use of this veterinary center. And I have the pleasure to declare the center open. Thank you.
Within the first 6 months in office, Colonel Anaja's performance earned him many accolades. The Emir of Katsina, Alhaji Muhammad Kabir Usman, likened his zeal and tireless drive to perform to that of the bulldozer. The Emir showed his appreciation as he openly praised the military governor and his approach to the development of Katsina State.
As I have mentioned earlier, the provision of development projects seem to be very accelerated because one could clearly witness the provision of so many essential projects which has not been provided before the creation of the state. This is vividly seen in and outskirts of the state capital.
The administration of Colonel Anaja carried out a development program that perhaps was unprecedented in the history of state development in the country. Against the background of severe cash squeeze, Colonel Anaja was able to utilize limited resources to change the face of the state capital and major city new state in his first year in office.
Well, prospects of this young meeting up with the other state are bright because the state is endowed with abundant material, human resources, and for this reason, I have no doubt that we would catch up in a very limited time as long as we keep on to the pace of development we have now started.
In Katsina today, the state capital stands out clearly as one of the most developed cities in the country. Already, residents have been provided with 2 channels of television broadcasting with the establishment of a state-owned TV station and the Nigerian television NTA, which was made possible by a special grant given by the military governor to the NTA to facilitate the dissemination of news and government programs to people. That's a step ahead of many older states which have been in existence for over 2 decades before the creation of Katsina State. Colonel Anaja also realized the importance of linking Katsina with other parts of the country, not only through the roads network, but by air traveling. He therefore approved a grand design to provide the new state with a befitting standard airport, which would be capable of taking any modern aircraft that flies the Nigerian airspace. Work project reached an advanced stage, and it will stand out as one of the permanent feature of the administration's landmarks. Katsina State Capital also boasts of a network of dual carriageways which serve the city as entry points. A dual carriageway which run across 8 kilometers have been provided on the Ibrahim Babangida Way, a entry route for visitors from states such as Kano, Kaduna, Bauchi, etc. Another dual carriageway which serve the international into the state through Jibia and also from neighboring Sokoto state will join the Ibrahim Babangida Way through Koperguga. The Daura Road entry point is also provided with a dual carriageway, while that linking visitors from Duchama and southern parts of the state terminates at Koferkwaya. On the same Duchama Road, the administration of Colonel Lawrence Anaja initiated an ultra-modern market which has almost been completed. The market central mosque has reached advanced stage of construction, while the new modern motor park is at the stage of damp roof covering. All the stalls have been built, while more than 3/4 overall construction work on the main market has been undertaken. Despite the hindrance caused by uncontrollable hike in building materials, which has threatened many capital projects throughout the country, it is envisaged that the ultra-modern market will be ready for use in the first quarter of 1990. Has also been provided with modern drainage system, while housing estates have been provided at Dus and Safi by the administration to ease accommodation problems facing civil servants in the state. Already, the housing projects have been completed and allocated to various government ministries and departments. Other major capital projects initiated by the administration of Colonel Lawrence Onoja in the state capital included the multi-million ultra open-air theater. The project, which initially faced logistic and technical problems, causing more than 6 months delay before it finally took off, is now scheduled to be completed before the end of 1989. Colonel Lawrence Onoja also initiated and personally got involved in the supervision of a modern presidential complex and government house in the state capital. His interest has aided the quick and smooth execution of the two projects, which are now at advanced stages of completion. The presidential complex has such facilities as auditorium, banquet hall, chalets, and conference hall with modern equipment. Also, the government is undertaking the construction of quarters for commissioners and general in the state capital. Most of the houses have been completed. Other capital projects initiated and financed by the state government included the reconstruction of some of the city gates and access roads in the city. As part of an overall effort to develop the state, the government of Colonel Lawrence Onoja has undertaken the development of an industrial layout in Katsina and major cities to facilitate industrial development. The layouts are provided with such facilities as supply and access roads so that the establishment of industries will not be hampered by the non-availability of such basic amenities. In addition, Colonel Lawrence Onoja opened his office to any industrialist with interest in the development of the new state. He demonstrated this position recently by not only aiding the establishing of an ultra-modern 5-star hotel in the capital by an indigenous businessman, Alhaji M.T. Usman, but also approved an immediate contract for the construction of an access road to the hotel complex to facilitate its development and accessibility to people and visitors.